Hey, it's Candy. Welcome to the She Shed. I've been doing some studies, like typologies and patterns and repetitions and that kind of stuff in the Bible, like the types of Christ. Joseph from Genesis is a really good one to study out. David is a good one to study out. And if you study like the tree pattern that flows through from the garden all the way to the end of Revelation, the tree of life, you will find tree patterns throughout the Bible. The Exodus pattern is found throughout the Bible. But I began to, somebody said something. I can't remember exactly what it was they said, but it reminded me of like maybe 25 years ago. I heard someone tell this story. It might not have been that long ago, but it just seems like it was that long ago. But it was about this country that was in a very harsh famine or drought. I can't remember all the conditions of it, but another country had sent in some seed, like pallets of seed for them to sow so that they could have and bring forth a harvest, because it was very bad. And the people, instead of sowing the seed, they ate it. And so they starved. And there was no future harvest because they ate. They ate up. They let that hunger eat up the seed. And, that just kind of reminds me of, if you're not careful, you will not hold valuable the things that God places in your hands, and you will not steward them well if we're not careful. And so, looking all the way back to the beginning, like when you look at Genesis, you see that the Lord made the heaven and the earth, okay? He put everything in here, and he put the seed within everything that he created for it to carry on. I love flowers, so like gardening, flower gardens and stuff, especially zinnias. Zinnias are like my favorite flower, and I think they're my favorite because they were something that my papa grew, and so I'm just kind of drawn to them because of that, I think. But they became my favorite flower because like they are literally, the hotter and the drier, the heat does not faze them. They are heat, they survive in the hot climates. So, and their seed is much like sunflower seeds. Sunflower, when it dies, the seeds will just scatter, and then they'll just keep reproducing, more, grow more and grow more. It's like taking an apple. You can take an apple and you can eat it, and it's full of seeds, but you can just take one seed, just one apple seed, just one. You ain't got to sow them all, just take one. And you can sow that one seed and grow a tree that will give you many fruits, okay? Bunches of apples. And inside of them are bunches of seed. Or you can take a couple of apples, take all the seed, and sow you a whole orchard full of apple trees. And it's just like the multiplication factor is there. God put it there. It's the intended purpose. Multiplication is God's intended purpose. And so even inside the man is the seed, okay? So the mandate to be fruitful and multiply, that is still the mandate, okay? God intends for us to be fruitful and to multiply. And that seed, the Bible tells us that his word is seed. And it tells us in one place, I'm not sure if this is the Proverbs, might not be, but it says something about if you regard like the clouds and the weather and all, you won't sow, you'll withhold your seed. And that it also tells us to sow by many waters. And so, and a tree that is planted by the waters is going to soak up the life-giving waters. And so God gave light for the life. He gave it. He put it there. The light was there before the sun, the moon, and the stars got put there. So light was a part of the plan from the beginning, and this seed that's inside the vegetation to reproduce like the garden is, I know it sounds very simple and all, but if you think about the seed today in agriculture, if you don't have great-great-grandmama's heirloom seeds, and you just buy some of this modern day plants, they're hybrids, and I'm not knocking all of it because all of it ain't that bad, but the seeds are not the same. They're not as stable. They are not as vibrant. They will not produce a true fruit. They might produce a fruit, but it won't be true to its original. But those old-timey, old-fashioned heirloom seeds will reproduce after its kind. It will continue to reproduce that same product. And so that is God's original intention. And so whenever you think about the fall and Genesis 3, how that the Lord puts this word on Satan that there's a seed coming is going to crush your head, you old serpent. That seed would be later Jesus. But the enemy, he tried his dead level best to get rid of that seed. So many ways, so many shapes, so many forms, and so many fashions, so many scenarios he attempted to get rid of that seed. His kind, the enemy, the serpent, the devil, his kind, his demons, the angels that fell with him when he fell, that caused the first Adam to fall. They got together with the daughters of man, and they corrupted a seed that led to a flood to start over humanity with a man that is named Noah, and God said that he would use him to start over. Okay, God's plan, he will always fight for his plan. He will always watch over his word, his promises carefully. He hastens his word to perform it. Okay, if you look at the Egyptians, whenever the children of Israel would go to birth, they would tell the midwives to kill those babies. Then they would tell them to cast them in the water. The devil tried to get rid of that seed. He was after that seed. And then later on in the story, you can find that the children were being child sacrificed to Moloch, I believe was that god that burned the children alive, and they were trying to appease these little g gods, and he was killing all the seed he could kill to try to prevent that seed that was coming, that was going to find its way, that was going to make that cross, that was going to crush the serpent's head. And then later on in the story, Herod, he kills all the babies that's 2 years old and under to try and get rid of that king. He wants to kill, the devil wants to kill the seed that's going. And not only that, he didn't do it. Jesus came and he done it. He accomplished it, okay? But not only that, he wants to kill our seed, because your seed, if you look at it in the agricultural sense, if you don't put that seed in the ground, if you don't tend to it, water it, if the sun don't shine on it and the rain don't, if God don't give the increase, it ain't gonna make. But whenever you fail to sow, you can bet your bottom dollar there ain't gonna be a harvest to reap come harvest season. Now, the time you sow that seed and the harvest, there's some time and space in between there, and we get lost in the middle sometimes. And so we got to make sure that we keep the seed, because the seed is for the future. The seed is not for right now. It's for the future. So if you feel like you're in a famine, in a drought, and you're starving to death, don't eat your seed. Be faithful with the seed, because God gives seed to the sower. Be faithful. Steward well what God gives you. And You know, let God's work continue. Let that fruitfulness continue. Let it carry on. And there's so many scenarios and ways of looking at this. And the, just like, it's just unreal. I don't even know how to just put it all into words, how that all of this just begin to flood in. And you know, God's intention for that beautiful connection with God and man walking together with Adam in the cool of the day, that is always been the plan. And that is why he gave his only begotten son. And Jesus came, and the enemy did not prevent all the seed stealing and killing and snatching, that all his attempts, it failed. That second Adam, Jesus, he came, he fulfilled it. He did what he came to do. And so there's so many ways you can look at this. You can look at it as stewarding your monetary means, and you can look at it as stewarding well the children that God gives you in your life. You can look at it as stewarding the word of God in so many ways, shape, forms, and fashions. There's even a New Testament, the seed and the sower and the soil, and how that the thief comes and he's just snatching up, and because it doesn't have deep roots, we got to carefully care for and steward well the seed. Whatever seed form is small to start with, is small. Think of a mustard seed, and how whenever it grows, it's just like this big overgrown thing, that they say that if you really go back and look at the ancient agriculture in that day, they would never have sown on purposefully a mustard seed in their orchard or their garden, because it would completely take over. So faith, as the grain of mustard seed, will completely take over. So steward that faith seed well. And steward what God gives you, what he places in your hand, that seed, whatever it is, whether it's your children, whether it's your finances, whether it's your time, whether it's the word, whatever it is, steward it well. Carefully guard your heart, guard your mind, protect that seed. Don't eat your seed. Don't waste your seed. Don't neglect the seed. There's a battle for the seed, people. And the good news is the war's already won.